Thank you very much. Today, we've got a representative of the United Khayelitsha Informal Traders Association with us. In person of Tosama, going to be represented by Mr. Lindelani. I say, welcome to this interview on the Food Dialogue Summit.
Thank you. It's nice to be in a position to talk on behalf of informal traders.
Oh, thank you very much. So I just want to very quickly introduce to us the United Khayelitsha Informal Traders Association. What do they do? And what do they stand for?
Informal Trade Association was formed, the organization, in 2011. And it was formed because of lots of victimization that we used to receive just from the law enforcement, which was used to give us some hard time. And then we formed an organization to represent the need of the people. But the organization has transformed and it has grown into such a formidable force, in a sense, because it is able now to handle even training to the informal traders. So as we stand for now, we are looking at 4,500 informal trader members, which are a part of the membership of the organization. But they are not only based in Khayelitsha, they are stretched into 17 or 18 township in the Western Cape.
Okay. Thank you very much. So basically, I'm going to be asking questions related to the informal food economy here, specifically in South Africa, generally in South Africa, and specifically in Cape Town here, that you are very familiar with. So the first question I want to ask is that in what ways is the informal food economy supporting the food system and the economy?
We must say it's a self-sufficient. Most of our clients or customers do not have big budgets to buy food. So we tend to focus into that target market of the poorer of them all. They have limited means to buy food, so they don't have money, so they just buy to survive, so to say. We satisfy this need. We provide food at an affordable rate. You know, you can understand if you buy food from Woolworths, you'll have a certain food that is rated good, okay. But in some instances, you find it that it's difficult for people who cannot afford that food. So we came at the right time. We provided food at an affordable price.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for that. So basically, before the COVID-19 pandemic, what characterized the informal food sector? How can you say, what are those features of the sector, of the informal sector, before the COVID-19 pandemic?
You see, if we look before the COVID-19, we look in one sector, one factor, the supply of food is needed. The supply of food is needed. So traders focus on the needed food or food that is in demand. You know what I'm saying? It's in demand, it's something that is needed. So the informal traders focuses on that. Understanding that need, they have formulated a package for their customers because the food is needed. So in all aspects, it was born in effects because of food that is needed. Then we were able to provide that food that is needed.
Oh, okay, thank you very much. Now talking about the COVID-19 pandemic now, how has it impacted on the informal food sector so far? What are those challenges it has brought to the sector?
Food that is normally sold in bulk is sold at a much affordable way. Food that is supported normally sold in bulk is sold at a much affordable way. You can easily get a cheaper price, a cheaper products, or a readily accessible the food. You get it in a small quantity in the informal trader.
Hmm. So I'm referring to the challenge now being posed by the COVID-19 pandemic on informal food trading now. What are those
Mm.
challenges that you guys have been facing in terms of, I don't know, maybe supplies or what? What are those challenges that maybe
Yeah.
prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, it wasn't there before? Now that we have the
Yeah.
COVID-19 pandemic, that's
Well,
now posing a challenge.
the big issue is it's supply. You find that when you go into the markets, you go to try and find products. It's very hard to find the product because most of the producers, perhaps they've closed down and they are no longer in existence. So when we go to try to find these products, we normally find a problem. Um, that is the main challenge to us because they are closed down and we cannot really find.
Yeah, no, thank you very much for that. Before uh, we had the issues of licensing. I mean, when the lockdown started, that informal traders were being marginalized in terms of them getting licenses to operate and things like that. Um, how did the informal traders, how did they go about this? Were they able to secure licenses as at when due, or what are those challenges that happened that posed to them?
Over years, we sat with the city of Cape Town and discuss various factors that affect the informal traders, including the licensing. At some stage, they were very victimizing in a sense without understanding the market per se. But as the time go by, we discovered that we can work together with the city of Cape Town. We can formalize the issue of working together. So in a way, as much as licensing is an issue, in some instances, you will find that we are working in an area that is not designated to work. And we find that we will be closed down, would be chased away, and so forth. But now that has it's now gone down. It's no more happening.
Okay, so we're saying that in terms of getting, especially now, because of the lockdown, before maybe there are issues of even getting licenses to
Yeah.
operate and things like that now, but because of the lockdown, especially when the lockdown started, there were issues
Mm.
of a lot of informal traders not being able to open their stores because they did not have the licenses. What did that do
Oh,
to
you are
traders?
referring
And,
to
and
licenses to trade
yes,
because of
yes, of the
the
lockdown.
lockdown.
Mm.
That has been a problem, man. That has been a major, major, major problem. In such a way that there was no communication clear from the city of Cape Town. How are we to do?
Mhm.
But they came with lots of laws because of lockdown, and they were trying to prevent us from trading. But we finally were able to sit down with them and talk to them. So those issues of licensing currently they are no more. But at the beginning, we used to have a huge problem.
Mm. Oh, so what did that do to the income of informal food traders around about that period, especially when the lockdown started and they were not able to operate? What did that do to their income and their ability also to cater for their family?
Their income was definitely hurt. To be quite honest, it was taken from them because you see, the informal trader, it's about selling a small products that should be bought probably in a bigger scale, but selling the little products to any demand. So the income, it was really, really, really affected. And also, you see, you can think of informal traders only from the side of law, in terms of law enforcement. But in terms of customers also, they were afraid of going into the markets. So the income was greatly affected. And we survived using this way of trading. That's how we survived. So it was greatly affected for that matter.
Okay, and in terms of access also, especially during that time, you said the needy, the poor, they are those people who basically, because they access the informal traders and things like that. So in the beginning of the lockdown, what was the access like of these needy people, the poorer people, accessing the informal trading, something that maybe probably getting things on loan and all that?
Yeah. Now we are in level 3.
Hmm.
We are far better. We are trading better. And we are in constant communication with the state of Cape Town to make it viable. But at that time, at the first time in March, in April, it was very difficult to open or to trade. It was very, 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 very difficult to trade.
When you look at the informal food economy generally now, what are those things that you think can be done to improve uh, the informal food economy?
There's a lot of things that we've been discussing, especially with the officials of the City of Cape Town, the province, that we've wanted because we have felt that the informal traders are not heard, are not seen in a proper way. So we were talking to them about operating in markets, to operate our own markets in our own way. Because you find that various sectors or various markets that are existing, they belong to the City of Cape Town. So sometimes they don't come with the cleaning materials. Sometimes they don't put right law in between. So we were thinking of self-managing our stores in a way. That's the thing that we think will improve informal traders, self-managing our stores
Self,
and managing our
okay.
stores.
And what does that entail? What does that entail? How is that going to work?
Separating our stores, it means having one body, okay? In this instance, it's a UKITA, in United Khayelitsha Informal Traders Association, having that body that render a service to informal traders. This service could be cleaning, security, and so forth, but also be able to hear grievances of traders and everything. Okay? So if we self-manage our stores our own way, we self-manage, we could be able to do many things within the informal trader sector, and we can grow the informal trading sector.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you very much. So, informal support for the informal food traders now, how do you think they can be better supported?
We think of regulate the market.
Regulate the market?
Regulate the market.
Okay.
You see, what I'm talking about is unfortunately that last year I had a stroke, and I'm speaking differently than I should have spoken to a year ago. I would have been vibrant and more interactive, but now I'm challenged by speech. But nevertheless, neither it's there. When we speak of regulate the market, we speak of introducing laws passing laws which will promote this self-management stores that I was talking about. Yeah, but regulate it in such a way that we can protect the interests of the informal traders. We can protect it better than it is now. We can protect it better, and we can represent the informal trader better than it is now. So to me, I think regulating the markets is what is needed.
When you look at the informal food economy now, what prospects are there for them going forward? What are the future opportunities or the biggest opportunities that you can see for informal traders going forward? And what are those risks that you feel that if we don't work on these risks and mitigate against these things, these issues, that it may affect the informal traders going into the future?
Vesu, I will sound as if I'm a broken record. It's self-management market.
Self-management market.
That is one thing that will solve the issues of informal trader. Self-management markets. That is what we present ourselves and we stand for. It's self-management market. That's the only way of managing the future of informal traders. We believe that if you can have that self-management market, you could be able to zoom into their problems. You know, let me make an example. You have people who are selling meat, who are in Khayelitsha inside too, who have been doing this for years. And these people, they are struggling now to find the products, which is the meat itself. And you find that even if they find the products, it is highly escalated at a more expensive rate. Yet if you self-manage the stores, you can then create a storage. You can then create an area to cut meats. You can then create an area to source meats and all of that. So if you self-manage stores, you can be able to source everything and be able to be a market and be able to do many things.
Okay. So when you talk about this self-management of markets, like you have said, don't you think that funding will be required to do such a thing, like the sourcing and all of these things, in terms of funding and all of that?
You see, these traders themselves, they have a little bit that they are able to save. Okay. And they are able to generate enough money to self-manage this. But it's just a matter of unitedly bringing them together into a one cause. But as for funding, I don't see it as a problem. You know, you can think of external funding, yes, but first, internally, the way they are running. Let me speak to make an example for you. A market that is operating in Khayelitsha, that is buying meats, just a one seller, one trader, okay. They buy meats for 3,000 rand. And they sell all that meats on that day. And they make 5,000. I'm talking about literally. Okay. Rent they spend, but they sell that meat and they make close to 5,000 rand. So if this trader, there are 38 of them, if I'm not mistaken, in the market. If each trader were to save a certain amount of money towards uplifting themselves, that could work.
Oh, okay.
But you cannot speak of that before you regulate the markets, regulate the real traders, give them power to do that, so to say.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. So, finally, on that self management, where does the responsibility lie now? To, you said they have to come together, things like that. Who is going to ensure that, or who is in the best position to ensure that it happens, that they come together, or the self management works? Is it the traders themselves, or the government, or the kind of association that you are in?
It's traders. Ukita, as for instance, is standing for that. It's traders. This is no longer a solution made by government. Government needs to make an enabling environment, an enabling environment. Give traders a, a way to trade, a way to trade. But they do that by stipulating laws, by giving laws, giving direction, giving a framework, so to say. That's what they need to do. But as for who is going to really be responsible for taking the traders to another level, it's traders themselves.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you very much. And finally, can you identify, looking at informal food trading generally, can you identify any risk to operations that if you don't tackle, maybe in the future, it can work against the informal traders, risk or challenges that you think that maybe the informal traders themselves or the government or even anyone has to tackle and solve so that it doesn't affect the traders or the trading in the future?
The trading in the future will be affected. For the first time, I never thought such pandemic will come in and disturb the trading. I never thought of to think that at the scale that the trade has been affected to this level. I've never thought that a disease can come in into trading and disturb the whole running of the trading. Okay, for starters, that is the first risk that I now see. But I never was able to understand that. I never looked at it that way. But now I know that it is a real risk. To mitigate that factor, to mitigate that risk, okay. No, there were some some notes that was in the system
Yeah,
that
I
I was
also saw
asking.
it. Yeah,
Sorry.
I saw it.
Yeah, yeah. Um, to mitigate that factor, you know, the training will be the right thing to do. Training of informal traders, preparing them for such instances, okay, of how should they act, okay. Training is the one way that could solve this issue that I just said. As much as the pandemic is at a higher scale, but I believe if training could be given to the traders, then they can be able to fight it off.
Mm.
The trade survive. Yeah.
Okay. So finally, I'm talking about integration into the market now, integration of informal food trading into the market generally, and the recognition of informal food trading generally by people. What are your expectations from government on the recognition of informal food trading and the integration of the informal food sector? What are your expectations from the government? What do you expect the government to do and all of that?
I expect to finally finalize the regulation that regulates the informal traders. I expect that. Okay. We've been on a research kind of research with government in 2017, 2018. We're deep in research, but it has went back, but nothing has happened. I expect them to come up with a bylaw that will finally make us be able to trade. That's all. I expect government to finally come out with a way that we will trade.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. I don't know if you have any last words for the audience.
For starters, I need to apologize the way I speak. I'm still going to emphasize. It's not the normal way, and my mind is not coordinated with my mouth. So I do apologize that I didn't come out clearly.
It's
but
fine, it's
I
fine.
want to say,
It's fine.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
fine.
I want to say we need to soldier on. No matter how difficult it is, we need to soldier on. This issue of markets, we have been fighting it for almost 4 years now, but we haven't seen good results. And mainly it's owed to changing of administration politically, which has caused us not to see the right results. But we hope that the city of Cape Town will come into our play and really offer us a power to trade. Really, we feel powerless. We feel powerless. So we strongly urge the city of Cape Town to give us our power back to be able to trade.
Thank you very much for that. I want to say that it's been nice interviewing you on informal food trading and the informal food sector in Cape Town here and in South Africa. And I believe that the knowledge and experiences that you have shared and the opinion that you have shared will be useful for our audience. Thank you very much. We'll still be in touch with you even going forward. I hope that that your expectations will basically come to pass in the near future. Thank you very much.